Certain death. Yes, it's certain death if they bring 5 million radical jihadis into Europe, 80% of them military-age men. It's certain death to bring hundreds of thousands in. They've been playing down the numbers. It's in the hundreds of thousands. It's in the tens of thousands here in Austin, Texas. We've confirmed in the last year of, quote, Syrian refugees. That's radical jihadi invaders who went into Syria, got their butt kicked, and they made a deal with Turkey to move into Europe with Merkel and the head of the EU migrancy program, who, of course, has been meeting at the Bilderberg meeting in the last week, Peter Sutherland. We have reached total, absolute information overload today with the amount of information we're going to be breaking down. Obviously, we've got 55 people dead now and more than 60 or so injured in the Orlando nightclub that was reportedly a gay nightclub. I have been harping on the fact that China executes gays, that 11 Muslim countries execute gays. And all I hear is carping and screaming and yelling from the LGBT so-called community, an offshoot of the Democratic Party, that that's a lie and that I am being homophobic or Islamophobic and that the poor little jihadis aren't targeting you. That is how totally over-the-top insane all of this has gotten. This morning I got up and ISIS had already officially claimed responsibility. This gentleman was openly claiming responsibility, and he had been watched for 2 years. They knew he was about to do it, but were ordered to stand down, just like San Bernardino. And it took until later in the afternoon, 8-9 hours after everybody gotten up and you know, knew about this horror, for the media to go, okay, it's Islamic terror. But Obama wouldn't say that. He said it's an attack on us all because an attack on a gay nightclub is this the heart of everything, so it's an attack on us all. And my issue is I hate any group of people being attacked, period. But now we're going to hear the grandstanding and the LGBT training of the kids in school, and America did this, and this is part of the hate. This guy killed more homosexuals than every gay basher has done in the U.S. the last 50-plus years. I mean, there might be one death a year, and they act like it's the end of the world. Anybody else gets mugged and killed, it's not even in the newspaper hardly. But it becomes this giant cause celeb, end of the world. You get 50-plus people dead at a gay nightclub, and it's a jihadi doing it, and it's an ISIS operation that they called for 3 days before and said they were going to hit Florida. They have released this electronic press release that they're going to hit thousands of different groups and thousands of different people. They released that last Monday. And now it's the month of Ramadan. And that's when you've got to go on high alert. I had Tim Kennedy here yesterday. Again, 15 years in Special Forces, specifically assigned to domestic operations. He doesn't tell me this, but I already know this. He said, yeah, well, that's true. Anti-terrorism operations in the U.S. at the highest levels. And they all knew this was coming in the month of Ramadan. And what you're seeing is the beginning of a sneak attack, Tet offensive. Just like the Chinese New Year in Vietnam, that famous attack, when it's supposedly a ceasefire, this is the beginning. You notice the attacks are coming at shorter and shorter intervals and are more intense. This is probing. This is getting ready. And then as they put the orders out, there's no cell organization. It's just camp followers and people that go along with the ideology. These lone wolves will start activating. Then the globalists will invert logic. The very ones that allow this to happen will tell us by giving up our freedoms, they will protect us and they will take our guns, with the California ruling, federal court ruling, to take your guns last week. It isn't about tooting our horn. Quite frankly, I got tears of rage in my eyes this morning when I got up at about 8:30, slept late on Sunday, usually up about 6 a.m., and I went into the kitchen, and my cell phone that was plugged into the wall was just full of probably 100 texts from Joe Biggs and Rob Dew and my reporters wanting to, hear what they should do next. And I love the fact that because I was asleep and they couldn't get a hold of me, they just went ahead and did the right thing, and Biggs bought tickets and flew to Florida, and Rob Dew went ahead and went into motion, started doing his job. But it's not tooting my horn when I tell you that you can go to Google and you can type in ISIS cells being activated, prepare for attack 2 weeks ago with Tim Kennedy, expert in anti-terrorism, U.S. Army. and all of our other guests coming on, and myself saying clearly they're preparing a massive Tet offensive, a Tet 2. Brecker, the former Navy SEAL, had him on twice for 3 hours total, saying it's imminent, it's coming, get ready this summer, get ready during Ramadan for the kickoff. There are attacks in Europe. There have been other attempted copycat attacks. They found another guy with automatic weapons and the rest of it going after a gay pride parade out in California. We have 50-plus people dead. We have another 60 or so seriously injured. We have a liberal Democrat registered son of Afghan immigrants, an admitted disciple of ISIS, who pledged allegiance to them online 2 years ago, driving down from New York, where he was a security guard, and going in there and killing those people. He had a New York gun license. He was a security guard, just like these airports, Charles de Gaulle in France, where more than half the people working there are Muslims, and most of them are women wearing hijabs and their faces covered or full burqas. You got the foxes watching the hen house here, and political correctness is so over the top. They are on the news right now saying enough is enough. This is the fault of the Second Amendment. They are on the news right now heralding the federal ruling last week that they can restrict guns and the open carry of guns. They are on the news right now saying this is a hate crime. And I've even talked to people I know that are buying it going, yeah, this is more of a hate crime because it was gays. Who do you think Muslims target? 11 Muslim countries execute gay men or lesbian women. Islamic State all over the Middle East, from Libya to Egypt to Syria, when they get control, they throw people off buildings is the customary way to kill a homosexual. I literally don't dislike anybody. I'm a libertarian. I get to hear all day because I'm a nationalist and pro-Second Amendment that I hate gay people. That's how the left makes themselves cause celebs and victims and, oh, look at me. What I hate is all the fake flamboyant, you're going to run society, you're going to tell our 5-year-olds how to live because, they need some LGBT training because, there's so much homophobia in the West where you can live in peace and be left alone and not killed. And then you got the very same left allied with radical Islam in the belly of the West that has given them all this freedom. And they're desecrating it, they're spitting on it. And I'm talking about the LGBT crowd that the media speaks for and that speaks for everybody else and that just sits up there and shoots their mouth off all day, about how they control the culture. It's a bunch of bullies who bring in even worse bullies and are just running around murdering people in mass. And so I charge the left, and I charge Obama, and I charge the LGBT community in general with endangering America and with the blood of these 50-plus innocent men and women who did not deserve to die, who did not deserve to have bullets fired into them, and all the other hundreds of thousands of other liberals and gays and others in the Middle East that have been murdered the last 5 years under the Al-Qaeda/ISIS onslaught that our government and CNN has pushed and said is a good thing, the Arab Spring run by Saudi Arabia and the West to bring down the entire Middle East. You people, bring down the Middle East. You put the radicals in charge that sexually mutilate women. You give them the weapons. You give them the know-how. Turkey and NATO aid them. You attack all these countries. They let them into Europe. They let them into Macedonia. They let them into Turkey and the rest of Europe. And they open the borders up and say, you must accept them. We must ban German freedom. We must ban Swedish freedom. We must arrest anybody criticizing the open border, including presidential candidates Marie Le Pen. That's not even as hardcore as Donald Trump. Arrested her for saying this Islamic invasion is as bad as Hitler's invasion. They arrested her. Their answer to the radical Islam is, we have to give up our speech or they're going to attack us. That's why the left allies itself, the totalitarian left, the fascist left, with radical Islam. Then there's an imam in Orlando, we got video, shooting his mouth off, saying that basically the gays deserved this to happen to him. Man, if a conservative said that, they'd get lynched. And he's up there in his black robes with his turban on. Death is the sentence. We know there's nothing to be embarrassed about this. Death is the sentence. News 9. They say, go kill the homosexuals. The guy goes and does it, and you want my guns. And you'll use it to say, oh, there's all these crimes against gay people. Let us educate your kids so you would sexualize my children and indoctrinate them into your cult. And I'm not saying you're in a cult because you're gay. I'm talking about the gay mafia that's really a pedophile mafia in Hollywood and the rest of it that wants access to our kids. And I'll tell you, I don't know who's worse, the pedophile mafia or radical Islam. But you know what, radical Islam, they have sex with little kids anyways. That sex is legal. Oh, you can have, the Quran says, have sex with little boys all day long. Just don't have sex with men with men. I mean, what a freak show, man. So I guess that form of Islam, Orthodox Islam, I guess that is worse than the pedophile cult. So there you go. Because you're just out in the open with it. I mean, it's just, you actually start reading the Quran and the Hadith and all this stuff, it is mind-blowing. And I've bought copies from official Islamic publications. Official, certified Sunni text. And it is freak show, folks. Freak show. There's a headline, Daily Caller, anti-pedophilia bill rejected in Pakistan as anti-Islamic. Boom! Wow. So no wonder the radical left's allied with Islam. They're just a bunch of perverts. They want access to our kids. They want to sexually mutilate our women and put hoods over their heads. No, you're not going to do it. So coming up, I've got the imam shooting his mouth off. I got it all. And then I've got all the stop the violence hashtags out this morning. Oh, really? Turn the guns in so then only the radical jihadis have the weapons? They got gun control in a bunch of these countries. Does that stop the radical jihadists? What about Europe? Did that stop all the gun bans in Paris? There's no guns in Paris. Oh, but the jihadis got their guns in because the government let them come in because the government lets these attacks take place to then take the general public's basic freedoms. So here's the battle, folks. There's going to be more sleeper cell attacks on schools and nightclubs and facilities like that and in military recruiting centers where they're not allowed to have weapons and military bases where they can't have weapons. That's an oxymoron. There's going to be more attacks, and then get ready. Gun owners and libertarians and veterans are going to be blamed. That is the inverted universe. That is the twisted universe. And then they got a bunch of lesbians on there tweeting girls kissing, going, love's going to win, we're going to get your guns. Nothing about Islam. Nothing about countries where they'd kill you the first day you were on the street. Zero. Because, see, these social justice warriors are a bunch of wimps. They want to come into the lap of true open society and freedom and run around bitching at everyone that's done nothing to them and then ally with a bunch of slavers. I mean, go read. Muhammad was a slaver, folks, a white man that enslaved black people. So, of course, Muhammad Ali changed his name from that of an abolitionist to that of a slave master. I have reached overload point, so I'm going to have to just sit back and calm down for just a moment. I have confirmed from high-level sources that there are 6 cells in 6 cities preparing to attack homosexual targets. That's what ISIS normally does when it rolls out first to quote, get the general Islamic support, is target the group that in Islam they all completely agree deserves to die, and that's any full-grown men or full-grown women having sex together. Children, it's super A-OK and totally wonderful. And I was just showing mainstream news articles. ISIS kill list targets Palm Beach, Treasure Coast residents, ex-FBI agent. Now, let me give you high-level intel. We're going to bring Tim Kennedy in here and see if he's gotten the same info. But this comes directly from the Pentagon. What you're about to hear. In fact, let's get Kurt Nimmo, who I know is on this weekend, as one of our writers. I know he's probably listening. Kurt, get ready to write this. This is a big story. You're hearing it here. 6 cities. In the next segment, I'll tell you the names. Obviously, Orlando and L.A. were 2. Are currently being targeted by cells that have now been activated, and there are anti-terrorism units moving into those areas right now to go after the people inside the United States. Now, I want to be very, very clear about this with everybody, okay? I see on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com a lot of comments saying, what is this, the Fox News channel with this fear-mongering? It isn't fear-mongering if it's real. When we attacked Iraq, when it was Saudi Arabia involved heavily, that was wrong. I was against it. It was meant to stir up the Middle East. Dick Cheney wrote the PNAC document talking about it. Now, they've gone past the class of civilizations. The globalists and NATO are just allying with Islam now to overrun us. The world changes. Alliances change. Saudi Arabia is our mortal enemy. I've always exposed them. I haven't changed. People aren't sophisticated enough to understand something that's 2 + 2 = 4 if they don't get this. There are real radical Muslims. There's over 1.5 billion Muslims total. Wahhabism has taken over Islam. It is seen as the Orthodox Islam now. It is super hardcore and crazy. It puts 5-year-old girls in sex slavery, for heaven's sakes, okay? It's totally schizophrenic. A man can have sex with a 10-year-old boy, but he can't have sex with another man. It's crazy. It's devilish. They brought 5 million into Europe. They've brought hundreds of thousands in here. It's way higher than what they're saying. We've proven that right here in Austin. And they're going to allow them to attack. And they're going to bring in civil emergency for the election unless we stop it. There are good elements of the government trying to stop it. The Pentagon and the Army particularly now understands the full plan and has been trying to block it for 4 years with the Russians. I told you that 4 years ago. 3 months ago, Cy Hirsch came on, Pulitzer Prize winner, and said, yes, Alex, thank you for your work. It's been groundbreaking with your guest. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying we know what we're talking about. It's true. For 4 years, the Pentagon has refused to work with ISIS and al-Qaeda in Syria and has been aiding the Russians with satellite data to help take them out. Our military said no to Obama because he's not the president. He is a globalist, Wahhabist, and I used to hear this, not believe it. It's true. I knew they were manipulating Islam, and he was acting like he was for it. And I knew he went to mosque when he was a kid in Indonesia, and I knew he could speak perfect, Pashtun and all the rest of it. And people were blown away in Cairo in his first speech. But man, Napoleon joined Islam at the end. These double crosses and triple crosses have happened before. And all I know is they brought 5 million people in the last 3 years into Europe. 80% of them military-age men. That's Interpol. And a lot of them jihadis. Folks, 10,000 men, a 10,000-man sleeper cell. Can you imagine 10,000 guys with guns going out and attacking nightclubs and schools and everything else? I mean, we're talking 5 million in Europe. Let's just say 10,000 attack. What about here? There are no-go zones all over Europe where our crew gets physically attacked and run out. And they say that Donald Trump's a liar and that San Bernardino wasn't a terror attack. The FBI came out and admitted they were ordered to stand down and to say that wasn't terror for 2 days. And then a year and a half before, they tried to stop them. Those very two, they were going back and forth to Pakistan and to Saudi Arabia and were ordered to stand down. And a criminal investigation was started by the Obama Justice Department and Eric Holder against the two agents. They faced criminal charges if the panel found that they were being racist against the very people that went in there and shot all those folks. So people say, Alex, you say a lot of terrorists false flag. Yes, it's false flag for NORAD to stand down. It's false flag to give the terrorist visas. And I've interviewed the heads of the embassies and all of it. There are criminal elements working with radical Islam in our government. But it is a false flag in that our governments of Europe and the United States are bringing in record numbers, and the fake liberal pretty boy up in Canada, Trudeau, they're bringing them all in. And when they attack, they come out and say, it's your fault. It's your granddaddy's fault wearing the John Deere hat with his rifle. It's your fault, the veteran, the gun owner, the patriot of every race, color, and creed. They're putting the guilt on us, the outrage, the arrogance, the insolence of these people. And then they have an imam in Orlando on TV saying the gays deserve this. It is written we must kill them. And it is written you must kill them. I mean, this is so crazy. This is so out of control and so mentally ill. But this is how America falls. They bring these people in, they let them attack. Then they declare civil emergency and say, you're not allowed to talk like you are anymore. You stirred up the Muslims. I said that before Merkel did it, before Hollande did it in Europe. They've done it. And I told you this was coming, and now this would happen. And you could see that the attacks are becoming more frequent and more intense. Tim Kennedy was in here a few months ago. You guys, you pull up the Army Times. I want to show TV viewers. Just type in Tim Kennedy, ISIS Click News. It's Army Times. But he broke it here. He's a fellow last night, friend of mine, good friend of mine. And we were just sitting there talking about it, how ISIS says he's a target and they're coming after him. They released Monday thousands of targets inside the United States in this electronic hacker brigade they have that they're going to hit. Let me tell you why this is such a bold, insane move. They think logic's dead. The globalists that have allowed this to take place, they think they're going to bring all these people in here. They're going to attack us, and then they're going to try to spin it into a hate crime and act like we did it. Because the wife of the other guy, he wasn't from here, but he lived here while he was a citizen. She wasn't a citizen yet in San Bernardino. This guy's parents came here in the 80s, and he was just a total, complete whack job. And there's all this hype, attack, attack, attack. These aren't even cell groups, these terror groups. They are just an ideology like fire ants. They climb up your leg, they release a pheromone, 20, 30 of them, and they all start stinging at once. Son of honeybees. Honeybees will release a pheromone that says you're bad and then attack you. So they don't get orders from headquarters. ISIS puts out videos of how to do stuff and says, you know, home gardening or how to brew beer at home. You know, that's what I go and, you know, do online. Or, you know, how to fix a carburetor. No, or, you know, where's the best place to hike when I go to Colorado? No, they don't do. Or where's the best enchiladas? Where's the best fried chicken on Sunday? That's the kind of stuff I Google. Oh, no, not them. It's, let me go see how to dump chlorine gas down a 100-story building. That kind of stuff. Kill everybody inside of it. And they're all just waiting, and all just a trigger. And once one fire ant stings, they all start firing at once. Boom, 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 boom. The controlled demolition of the Republic. The door wide open to a jihad army.
If I was just gonna like attach an idea to it, it's gonna be dangerous freedom.